New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
Yep. We back. What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from Knick of Time Show. Here, give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And this is the last post-game show of the season because the Knicks fall to the Heat 96-92. We're just gonna get into it very quickly. Shout out to my guys. Oh, I got the wrong name tag. Sorry. I don't know what happened. Did y'all flip places? What? But yeah, shout out
Ryan
to
the hoop earrings.
Oh man,
he would never.
Yeah, I got sick of my studs, man. I got sick of my studs.
Yeah, hell would freeze over. But shout out to Ryan G's in the building.
Hell yeah,
and the Latin assassin Lee Escobedo, who
let's go
rocking the last show. And I'm not gonna hold you guys. If I did not have a pod, I would not. Shoot, I'll be at home chilling by myself right now. I'm like, just contemplating, but I'm here. So let's do this. Here's the thing though. This has been a good season, man. It hurts to end the season with a loss, but overall, we're a team that was supposed to be a 41-win team. We ran into a buzzsaw in Miami Heat, who might be the fakest AFC in history. These guys went to the were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, one game away from the finals. They have a lot of experience. I talked about it on Twitter about how I think we're underrating the experience that these guys have, and we had to learn on the fly on how to hang with them. And so they've been in a lot of these tough moments, and this is a lot of our guys' first time in getting in the second round and getting a taste of this. So there's a lot to be proud of, even though this loss hurts. All right, we have our picks, we have our young guys, we have a killer in Jalen Brunson here, and we will be in the playoffs year after year because of the established pieces we have. So before I even get into the breakdowns and stuff, gunshots for the New York Knicks in the season. First time being in the second round in 20 years. Hurts to lose, but a big building block, a big foundation year for us. So salute to you guys in the chat, and salute to you guys, Lee and Ryan. Man, this is our first ever, playoff run that we're covering in the second round. Hopefully, there's a lot more of these to come.
No doubt.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to you. But let's get to it, man. Before I even get into the criticisms, because I will get into the criticisms. Man, come.
Shout out the World Wide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
Him. Jalen Brunson, established point guard, the guy we've been looking for, a point guard who can run this team. We found one. It's not even just a point guard. Like, he's a legit superstar, man. He's a legit superstar, and it's not even funny. I talked about how people were saying that Donovan Mitchell was the best player in that series. Even in this loss to the Heat, I think this further proves my point that Brunson has been underrated, still might be underrated. Statistically, really, I felt like he outplayed Jimmy Butler, but the team of the Heat kind of picked the places. But I just want to pick up the pieces for the Heat, and the team in New York Knicks kind of really didn't support Brunson the way that I feel like he needed to be supported. But, all in all, 41 points, 4 rebounds, 8 and 9 from the free throw line. Masterful game. They could not stop that. Got into the paint when he wanted to, hit threes, multiple 30-point games in a row. First Knick to have those since Bernard King. You can already see the future of this Knick. You can already see the number 11 jersey will most likely hang in the rafters from years to come. If he stays here as a New York Knicks player, which I think he will. So before we even get to the game even further, salute to Jalen Brunson. Freaking masterful season. And the good thing about having a guy like that here is we've been talking about attracting free agents and all these other guys for a long time. This dude is a bad man. He can attract some people without a doubt. I can see a lot of stars going, I want to play with Jalen Brunson because I already know he's not going to be afraid of the moment. He's going to give everything he has. And if I'm going to go anywhere, I need to play alongside of a guy like that. So man, Jalen Brunson. Ooh, yeah, great game, Jalen Brunson. But let me get your guys' thoughts on the game, man. Yeah, Lee, let me know what are your thoughts on this tough game, tough loss.
JLS, are we being positive or are we laying out critiques right now? What should we start with? Positivity?
We'll start with the positivity, and then we'll move into the negative. We'll move into the critiques.
Heard. All right. First off, Mark Cuban, thank you for being a dumbass and running the most poverty franchise in the NBA, squandering again generational point guard. First Steve Nash, now Jalen Brunson. This time, the Knicks are the recipient of your inadequacies and ridiculousness as the owner of a goofball franchise. Now Jalen Brunson's wearing number 11, the orange and blue, and has proven to be the best point guard in the Eastern Conference, a top 5 point guard in the NBA. Who would have thought 3 years ago the Knicks would have a top 5 point guard in the NBA? Facts. Certainly not I, when Elfrid Payton was, burning my eyes, making them bleed from the inside out for 80 game seasons. Thank God we now have Jalen Brunson and no more bums at the point guard position. We solved that. He's unbelievable, man. I really think he's going to be an MVP candidate in about 2 years. I think the guy could even win it. I remember when Nash with the Phoenix. Yeah. Now it's like I told Matt fans then, you think I'm annoying now, bro? Back then, 20 years ago, oh my God, I was like, y'all bums just lost a future MVP, and they laughed at me, man. I love Nash. They laughed at me, and what happened? 2-time MVP.
Yeah.
Brunson has the capabilities.
Yeah, he does.
If Leon Rose begins to build around him, both for his pluses and his negatives, picking up where his deficiencies are and complementing his strengths. If he does that, Brunson, the Suns were built around Nash. These Knicks are built around Brunson. Bro, we could have a serious dynasty on our hands here in 2 or 3 years. As JL has said, we are in a great place. We got picks from Denver, Detroit, Milwaukee, Washington, Dallas in our disposal to use for future trades. We got one of the best young cores. I would say we got a top 3 young core in the NBA after OKC and Orlando. And we got trade assets across the board. Very good, maximized value, team-friendly contracts, descending most of the time, team option most of the time on that last year. We had no bad contracts on the roster. We play in MSG. You had the best fans in the world. There's really no reason to be sad right now because we went from a damn bottom of the lottery last year with Evan Fournier, the broken body bag of Kemba Walker, to the second round of the playoffs. Let's go, baby! Hey, let's go. What a season. Shout out JL.
Plus season, man. It's a plus season, man. It's a plus season. There's a lot to hang our hat on. There's a lot to hang out. There's a lot of groundwork that's been done. I don't even the Tibbs, man. People have been died on Tibbs. There's people going to blame Tibbs for this loss. We can get into the critiques now. There's people who blame Tibbs for this loss. Huh?
We have a superstar. That's a hard thing to find.
Yes.
We've been looking for decades for a superstar since Ewing retired. Now we got one.
We have a legit one. We have a legit one. And once you have that is exactly, it's the hardest piece to ever get on the chessboard. There's 3-and-D guys up the wazoo in the league. You know what I'm saying? 3-and-D guys up the wazoo. And we're drafting some, but maybe we bring some in, but superstar piece to build, that chess piece, that heady piece, the guy who's not going to build under pressure, the guy who set people up, the guy who is your engine, your mentor, the guy who people follow, that guy, we got him in Jalen Brunson. So we got that part.
Here's a crazy part, Jay Ellis. Jason Tatum, dude's about to be paid $65 million a year. Choke when it matters most. That's Jason Tatum. We got Brunson, descending contract.
Yeah.
$25 million for the next 3 years.
Crazy.
Give Leon Rose his flowers. Give Scott Perry his flowers. World Wide West his flowers. We can actually build competently around Brunson and have a long-standing, consistent winner for years to come.
Absolutely. I don't know if you want to add anything, Lion, before we move on.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I was outside, back in New York City, for Mother's Day, and
Hey,
I was outside, with Knicks fans, watching the game and enjoying the vibes. It's the Knicks lost tonight, but I'm not even mad, to be honest about it, because the Knicks fought their ass off tonight. The Knicks put it on the line. It's just unfortunate that they just couldn't best the Heat tonight, and it is what it is. That's how it is sometimes.
Yeah.
I do want to say this because I'm seeing in the chat, saying how we need to trade this player, we need to trade that player, fire Thibs, etc., blah blah blah. Like, people need to put this in perspective for a second. At the beginning of the season, did anyone realistically think, for the most part, the majority of the fans, did any of you realistically think that the Knicks would make it to the second round of the playoffs? I would bet you money. Well, besides, but I would bet you that I would bet you that realistically, the majority of you did not believe the Knicks would even make it to the second round of the playoffs.
That's a fact.
true, because I got laughed at. True.
Exactly. So the fact that Thibs coached this team to the second round of the playoffs, and it's not like he got bested by a coach with little to no experience. He got bested by one of the best coaches in the NBA with a Miami Heat team that made the Eastern Conference Finals 3 out of the 4 years, these past years. So the Heat have the experience. They've been in these situations before. The Knicks are brand new to this situation. Besides Jalen Brunson, who else in the Knicks rotation has made it this far in the playoffs?
Nobody.
None of them.
Nobody.
They're all new to this.
Every single one of them.
Exactly. So it's like, so you have to put it in perspective. This is a learning experience for each and every one of these guys. So for y'all to be like, let's trade this player, let's trade that player, I'm sorry, it's idiotic and stupid, because you're acting like as if these players have the experience and they've been in these situations many times before, and then all of a sudden they just decided to flop. Only Jalen Brunson's been here. Everybody else, this is new to them.
Yeah.
While you're facing a Heat team, they've been here before. They've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And you also have to remember, we underestimated the Heat because we looked at them in the regular season and forgot that they have one of the best coaches in the NBA, and the players on their squad have the experience on top of that. There's another example of this in the NBA, the Kings and the Warriors series. If you look at the Kings roster and you look at the Warriors roster, the Kings had a better team. But who won that series? The Warriors. Why? Because the Warriors have the experience. They've been there already. They're battle tested. It's the same thing with this series. The Heat are battle tested. The Knicks are not battle tested yet. This is a new experience for the majority of them.
Yep.
So I don't want to hear, oh, let's trade this player. This player got to go. That player got to go. Thibs got to go. Nah. Y'all are being idiotic and y'all being emotional as hell.
You got to grow through this.
This team made it far, and you should be proud of this team for making it this far. They took a Miami Heat team with experience, Game 6 in Miami, down to the damn wire.
Look, I'm gonna give another good example, Ryan G. And thank you for that.
G.
That he preached.
G.
He preached.
Flamethrower.
I love when Ryan G gets pissed. That's my favorite.
Too, my dad loves it. I know my dad is like fired up right now.
I used to piss off Ryan G on purpose just to have a good show.
It's iconic, bro.
I haven't done it in a while. But here's the thing, man. Another good example of this. Remember the Dream Team? So people talk about, oh, we have the most talent. This is one. Didn't the Dream Team lose? Hold
up. Knicks on night saying you can't tell fans how to fan. I may not be able to tell fans how to fan, but I can tell when y'all acting like a bunch of dumbasses, though. I can tell that, though.
Jailers, to correct you, they lost to an exhibition team of younger players in the NBA. It was before the Olympics actually started.
Yeah, but the redeemed before, because they had the Dream Team and then they had their. Not the Dream Team. I'm sorry, not the Dream Team. There was the NBA Olympic team that lost a few years ago, years ago in Olympic competition, and that's when they brought in the redeemed team.
Yeah, to Puerto Rico.
Exactly. So when the Dream Team, when when Team USA lost to Puerto Rico, everybody was saying, "Hey, Team USA has more talent." But Team Puerto Rico was together for a lot more
Yep.
years, had a system together, and understand the FIBA rules. Right now, when people say, "Oh, well, the Knicks have more talent," right now we're kind of. I'm not saying we're on the talent level of the Olympic team USA. I'm not saying that, but it's the same concept where the team who people says has more talent lose to a team who's been together more and is battle tested more, and that's what's been happening with this Knicks versus Miami Heat team. That's all I'm really saying. All right, so here's the other thing too. The Knicks, we've been losing so many times that so a lot of people don't realize what a stable franchise looks like and what it's like to build from the ground up, because we've been restarting the growth process so many times that it's just like it's like a trigger to you guys. This is like, oh, that's how you fix things. You just get rid of people. But you sometimes you have to really look and figure out who you're gonna grow through with and who you're gonna get rid of, and you have to do that more masterfully instead of just cutting off everybody once they have a bad game or a bad season or a bad series, or like you have to look at things more strategically. And so for you guys who are pissed and just want to throw out the whole team with the bathwater and only keep Jalen Brunson and start from scratch again, that's not the move. That's not the move. You have to allow these guys to grow and get their lumps and become Puerto Rico. Okay? All right. So let's get to it, man. The game itself. Jalen Brunson needs help. When I'm looking at this whole game, I just see Kevin Hart in my head. Help me. Help me. That's all I keep saying in my head. Yo, Ryan G, Lee, you guys heard me say for 2 months before the playoffs start, what was I worried about? What did I keep saying for 2 months? When Jalen Brunson, they're going to trap Jalen Brunson. And when Jalen Brunson is forced to give up the ball, who is going to make a play? I've been saying that since February, March. Today, trap Jalen Brunson. They force Josh Hart to get the ball. He's scared to shoot the whole damn game.
Yeah. Series. To the point where he was open. The last moment of the game, Brunson was double teamed. He was scared to give him the ball. Do you know why he was scared to give him the ball? Because he gave him the ball in an earlier situation after Jalen Brunson worked his tail off to get two people on the ball and get him open. He pump faked and then dribbled to a traffic and kicked it back out again. So you erased all the hard work I did as a guard to go through double teams just to not shoot the ball. Like, I don't know if you guys ever played guard before. That was like the most annoying thing for a guard, to work hard to get you an open shot and not to shoot it. I'd rather have Grimes in there in those moments going 1 for 35 and shooting the damn ball than you go 1 for 2. Because you have to keep the defense on. The players, the subsequent players were too scared to shoot. And they're not even too, in the guys who weren't scared to shoot, they were too scared to mess up. And you can see it in that fourth quarter where everybody got tight and everybody was just looking for Brunson. We need help. I don't know what you got, Lee. I'm ready. So I was very positive, optimistic with my first. That's why I wanted to ask, when is it constructive criticism part of a show starting? And I'm assuming it's now.
It's time.
So I'm going to say some things. Looking forward to pushback, feedback from the chat, from Twitter, from y'all too, especially. For the last 3 years, Leon Rose has been building around Julius Randle as a centerpiece. He absorbed Julius Randle, taking over from Steve Mills, retained Scott Perry, and made a decision after the first year to re-sign him to a very team-friendly deal with a lot of bonuses and incentives for certain metrics. I believe it's also a descending contract too. So, hats off, kudos. It's not a horrible contract like some of the others across the league, the Russell Westbrook, for example. The time has come for him to stop doing that and start building around the skill set of Jalen Brunson. The best thing for him to do this summer, what I advocate for, and what I think we should do, is trade Julius Randle. The time has come. I brought up after game 4 that this summer a conversation needs to be had, because this is a summer that extension talks are going to happen with both Emmanuel Quickly and Obi Toppin, who are both up for their extension. And Jay Ellis was like, let's wait till the season's over before we start having a conversation. Totally obliged to that, no problem. But now the season's over. And I have seen enough. This is where I disagree with Ryan. I agree and disagree. We should not trade the whole team. I think a lot of these guys have tons of potential, lots of upside, and gel very well with Brunson. Julius Randle is not the type of piece you want to build around Jalen Brunson with. You need someone who can go off ball, not someone who's only good on ball. Because Jalen Brunson is an on-ball player and needs guys who can thrive playing off ball, who also can thrive as catch and shoot three-point shooters, who also can put up 100% energy, because Brunson doesn't always do that, can't always do that because of the offensive load that he takes on that side of the ball, and needs people who give 110% on defense. Julius Randle doesn't do that. I was very reluctant to say trade Randle after the Atlanta series, because Atlanta played him very well. Nate McMillan's a very good coach. They threw a lot of double and triple teams at him, slowed him down, took him out of his spots. And like I said, you had the dead carcass of Elfrid Payton to pass the ball to, and the dead carcass of Reggie Bullock and Nerlens Noel to pass the ball to. It is what it is. We now have 3 series of Julius Randle. Yes, he was hobbled in the first one. We have enough evidence in front of us now to say that Julius Randle is not a piece to build around, especially to build around under Tom Thibodeau and next to Jalen Brunson. This summer, the top priority for Leon Rose should be moving off that contract, not in a lateral move, not for picks, not as a low ball offer. Don't sell low, but trade him for shooters and spacing to build around Brunson. That should be top priority number 1. Offer a contract extension at a very good value for Obi Toppin. Quickly's cost and price has just dropped because of his performance in the playoffs. So let's get him a team-friendly deal between $17-20 million a year, like the 4-year contract, 4th-year team option. And let's build around Brunson, give him shooting, give him defense, give him spacing, and get off of Julius Randle, because when things crunch down and the atmosphere, the tension rise, he draws back and fades away. He's a Dallas guy. I love him. I'll root for him no matter what jersey he wears from here until he retires. I'll always sit up for him, but he is no longer the best asset for us to have on this team, and he's no longer a good person to have next to Jalen Brunson as a second option on this squad.
I'll say this. So, Julius Randle has had a really good season, really good bounce back season. I feel like he did a lot of work mentally to get back to where he is today, and he should be applauded for it. This series, I felt it really hard to try to figure out where to place him on my head, because I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's ankle injury, what's not, where's his headspace at. I think he was fairly healthy in this Heat series. It's hard to kind of figure out whether he was or not. I think he was fairly healthy. So I feel like I'm going to operate on the assumption that maybe he was fairly healthy after like game 3 or something. With that being said, Brunson to me is obviously to me the guy on our team. When it comes to Randle, I'm open to moving him, but it's also depending on who. The problem always with Randle is he's such a force everywhere else. Like, it's hard to, I feel like it's almost really hard to move him and get fair value back because of what he is. Like, because like you want to move him for, you saying you want to move him for like a shooter, right? For us, if we're moving Randle, like we have to move him for a shooter who's at the 4, right? That's because that's what I'm thinking. Because if you really want to maximize Jalen Brunson, and you feel like, if you feel like Grimes is the future, you feel like RJ is gonna be here, then you want to have to move him for like a 4 spacer, like a 4 floor spacer, right? That's what I'm thinking, right? Or 4 or 5. That's what I'm thinking, right?
It doesn't even have to be a starter, because Obi Toppin could be starting. It could be a multitude of pieces that add up to his contract. It could be even a package deal with Randle and somebody, Fournier. So we're now you're getting $50 million back worth of contracts of guys who can space the floor from the 1 to 3 and 5.
1 to 3 and the 5.
Yeah, because we need shooting at the backup point guard position.
We definitely do. I think that's what's just, it's just for me. I'm just like, what value are we getting back? I've seen Jeremiah Grant tossed around. Me myself, I pitched Jeremiah Grant here for sure. So I do like him. That's a possibility. Maybe the price tag might be interesting to pay. With the whole Dame thing happening, I can see them maybe trying to blow the team up again or something. So who knows what's gonna happen there? That's the only thing I can really think of right now off the top of my head that I could possibly entertain. I know people. I see people saying Jalen Brown. I don't know if Jalen Brown is leaving or not. I'm not counting on him leaving right now, depending on what happens with that team right there. But it's Jalen Brunson is a priority. Jalen Brunson is a priority to me. It's clear to me that we need a lot of 3 and D around Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
We need a lot of 3 and D around Jalen Brunson. And at the same time, we also need playmaking. Because one of the things, I think another thing that hurt us besides like the guys who didn't show up, like Randle and to a lesser extent RJ Barrett, is we didn't have a real playmaker. And once IQ left the building, it was very hard to watch the offense. Extremely hard to watch. And I love Grimes, and this is not even Grimes' fault. With the Grimes minutes, we were up 14 when the Grimes minutes happened, and not that it was Grimes' fault. It was like we had RJ out there who's supposed to be the playmaker, but he's not a real playmaker. It's funny. RJ gets his buckets off of the gravity of Jalen Brunson. So when Jalen Brunson's not in the game and the attention is on RJ, it didn't really work the same. I'm pretty sure you guys can see that with your eyes, how many turnovers happened in that beginning of the second quarter. And then once Jalen Brunson got back in the game, the eyes are on Jalen Brunson, but all of a sudden RJ is getting cleaner looks. You know what I mean? So another playmaker for sure, or just re-signing IQ, I don't know. But I don't know. This is going to be an interesting offseason for our guys.
I think in order for us to take the next step forward, there's 3 metrics that we have to address in the offseason. 2 of them were top 3 and we're worst in. We're top 3 worst in, which is pace and isolation plays. Those 3 have to be rectified this summer by taking off one of the guys who is ball dominant between RJ, Randle, and Brunson. My vote is for Randle. Move that for guys that are more pace and space. And that feeds into my second one, which is team assists. We're second worst, I believe, in the NBA in team assists. That needs for me to go from 23, 24 a game to more 27, 28 a game. And that to be a regular occurrence, because that means that we're limiting the isolation plays and we're actually trying to feed guys and have more hockey assists for open threes on the perimeter. And the third is 3-point percentage. I think we were 8th worst in the NBA this season in 3-point percentage. We have to get guys in here whose primary offensive weapon is shooting. The only guy on our roster right now whose primary offensive weapon is shooting is Evan Fournier, and he's a traffic cone on defense. We got to bring guys in who can play defense. Guys, Caleb Martin, Matt Strus, Gabe Benson are great examples of guys who can play defense, who don't turn the ball over, and who can hit threes in a variety of ways. Catch and shoot, off the dribble, sidestep, step back, hand to face, double teamed, off a dribble handoff, all those things. We need to find those type of guys to help fill the roster. And I'm not advocating for a complete clean sweep. I really think Randle can bring us 2 or 3 shooters, and we didn't add 2 to 3 shooters to a rotation for Tibbs to pick and choose what that 9 to 10 man rotation looks like, and 2 of them are included. That to me is a plus, and we reach another level.
Ryan G.
Yeah, definitely a lot to unpack. I do agree with a lot of what Lee is saying. Like, one of the main issues with the Knicks is definitely shooting. Knicks definitely have to find shooting in the offseason to increase the spacing on the floor so that Brunson can have more space to operate. That is number one. So I think for me, shooting is definitely the top thing the Knicks have to address. Because in today's NBA, your team is not going to get that far unless you have at least like a good 2-3 players on your team that can actually shoot the rock and shoot it efficiently from 3-point range. Now, the whole trading Randle situation, I'm not going to say that I'm opposed to it, but it has to be the right deal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to just trade Randle just to trade him. It has to be proper value for Randle for me to be on board with it. Because at the end of the day, his playoff performances have been subpar. Does he deserve does he deserve criticism for the way he has performed in the playoffs? Yes. But at the end of the day, he is still a guy that can get you 26 and 10 in the regular season with 5 assists, and he's still all NBA third team. So you have to keep that in consideration as well. So if you're going to trade a guy like that, you have to get proper value back. And this is the problem I have with some Knicks fans, because they act like as if, okay, let's trade Julius Randle for a bag of chips and just get him off the team. But it's like, no.
Yeah.
Why are you going to do that with a player that actually gives you 26, 10, and 5 every single night, even though it's in the regular season? You just don't get rid of a player like that. And yes, I understand in the playoffs he has been bad, but I think people have to think about this as well. This is only his second playoff appearance. It's not like this guy's been in the playoffs every single year, and like he's been in the playoffs like 5 years or so, and every single time he's in the playoffs he's been bad. There has been proof of players where their first couple of seasons they were bad in the playoffs, and then eventually, they're able to find something to where, they get used to the pressure and they perform better. There's many examples of that throughout NBA history. So you have to keep that in mind as well. So I do agree that Julius Randle can bring back pieces that can possibly help the spacing and help the 3-point shooting and playmaking on the Knicks roster, which would definitely make the Knicks a better team. But at the same time, like, I think people have to realize the value that Randle has. And you can't just be like, okay, I'm gonna trade this guy for a bag of chips and some gum and think the team is going to be good. Like, no. You have to get proper value back for this guy. But yes, the areas we need to address is 3-point shooting, to increase the spacing. And I do agree with the lead. Knicks do have to pick up the pace. So they need players that's gonna actually, be productive on the fast break and speed up the game for the Knicks. I do agree with Lee on that as well. And of course, the playmaking, I agree with that as well, because the Knicks are one of the worst teams when it comes to assists. And the Knicks do need to incorporate more ball movement into the roster. I think the only thing I kind of like iffy on is the whole trade Randle thing, because it has to be proper value. You can't just trade the man just to trade him.
I'm glad Ryan G said it. I'm glad Ryan G said it, because I was kind of thinking a similar thing. Like I said before, Brunson is the only one that's been to the second round. And that includes Randle. And that's why I even started this whole conversation with, I'm trying to figure out where to put him, considering like Randle twisted his ankle right before playoffs, getting him out of rhythm, work his way back into a rhythm, twists his ankle again, and then works his way back again. So I have a hard time trying to figure out like what's real, what's not in the Randle performance. You know what I'm saying? So like there's certain things there's certain things I look at like, all right, he didn't shoot well. That could be a rhythm thing. But then there's certain things like the Kevin Love, went backdoor and he didn't hustle back. Like, it's like not that same old Randle stuff. So I'm trying to like collect all this data and figure out, okay, where am I? Even today, did not have a good shooting game today. Julius Randle. I feel like he was more focused on trying to do things quicker. I feel like he was a beast on the boards. I feel like even though he didn't shoot well, it didn't get him down like I usually see him get down. But at the end of the day, when we needed a bucket or we needed to play, like he turned the ball over, he didn't shoot well, like he didn't rise to the occasion. So like, it's like at the end of the day, I'm still looking around like we need another guy who is not afraid of the moment here. And I think it's possibility RJ could be that too. But RJ had like a 1 for 10 game, got to the free throw line a lot. Then got fouled once he got into foul trouble, I feel like he had issues getting back into the flow of things. So maybe that could be RJ because he was that for a lot of the series. But we definitely need like a guy who can shoot, play, make, defend, and has a killer instinct for sure.
The reason that Randle is my choice of who we should move on from has less to do with his horrid shooting, which I believe he's tied with like the worst all-time playoff field goal percentage in the history of the NBA, which is a hell of a metric on its own. The reason I want to trade him is what separates him from the RJs and the Grimes and the Harts and the Mitch, not even to include Brunson, and the Hartensteins, is the effort. There's not a single thing that he brought to either the first round or second round that was positive. Not encouragement, not leadership, not diving for loose balls, not doing the hustle plays, not playmaking, not rebounding. There was nothing he did that stood out in a positive way. Everything he did stood out in either a meh way or a negative way. I can live with bad shooting performances. I can live with him being shut down by all NBA, second team, all defense, and Bam Adebayo. I can live with that. But not doing everything it takes to win a game. And I saw that from Josh Hart. I saw it from Quentin Grimes. I saw it from Jalen Brunson. Never saw it from Julius Randle. And that is why I advocate for him being the piece that's moved. Don't sell low. Get back equal value.
I think that's like I think we got to be careful about like the never and the because there was a game. Listen, man, I'm not saying that Randle, was the best thing smoking, but there were times where he, like the game before, right? The game before this game, we blew the lead open because Randle was able to get into the paint and pass the ball and get everybody open threes. He did that in this series. He did it in the Cavs series. He's had moments where he's been bad. So he's never done anything good for the entire series from the Cavs to the Heat. That's just not true. Has he had moments he is what he is in the regular season? He has a game where he frustrates the hell out of you and you're like, bro, what are you doing? Get Obi Toppin in the game. And then he has games where he's looking amazing and he's diming people up and you're like, wow, how did he even make that pass? So I want to get away from the extremes. Like that's what's happening. So I understand some people who want to move on from him, but I don't want to I don't want to get into he's just been off the entire, he's been off on a lot of the playoffs for sure. But to say he's never done anything good in the playoffs is
okay. Jay also made a good point. We actually before the show we talked about extremities and overwhelming binaries. I agree. He hasn't been 100% bad. He's been a solid 90% ass. That I stand by that. I think he's done way more negatives than he has positives. He wasn't awful all playoffs. He had moments where his rebounding was solid. He had moments where his picks were crucial. Right. He had moments where his playmaking was nice against Cleveland. But overwhelmingly, more so than not, he was ass.
I'll take that.
And for that reason, and because his contract is so tradable, it's a great contract for what his statistical averages are. And he is someone, if he was a fourth option, I think he would thrive. But as a second option, I think he's a bad match with another dominant on-ball player like Jalen Brunson. Not trying to shit on the guy. I just think that this is the best time to sell high on him. I think his value is still very high. His contract is very affordable and team-friendly. I think we could get some solid pieces back, some good starter shooters and defenders back, but if we trade him to a contender.
Yeah. I'm still on my Ryan G on, and I'm just like, if the right trade comes along, yes, but I'm not shipping him. I'm not seeking get him out of here for any shooter. That's not what I'm thinking either. Because I do understand the value of having a guy who can cause double teams at anybody's win.
I agree.
And that's hard to duplicate. And he usually like today, 95% of the people when he ISOs on, he has an advantage. He ran into Bam Adebayo, who does not have an advantage. Yep. So when he does not have the advantage, how do you adapt? And that was the problem with Julius Randle today, because he did not have the advantage of going ISO on Adebayo. When you don't have the advantage, you have to be more deliberate. You have to shoot faster. You have to make quicker. And he wasn't able to do that. We have a caller up. I'm sorry. I know we had an earlier caller, but we just started getting good. First caller up, man. Let us know what you want to talk about, man.
How's it going, guys? It's John Baines from Texas.
My man.
What's going on,
First,
John?
I just want to say, my man, what's going on, guys? I just want to say, I love this team. This season was a joy to watch, and all the hard work y'all did during, the course of this year was great. I really appreciate it. It's a safe space. So, me in the chat, I think we all can say that, we appreciate y'all. I want to talk about the game today just quickly. I just have a few points. The double teams, I think they were working good in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I really feel like it was our detriment, especially with this swing-heavy team, a team that's really good at keeping that ball moving and getting a good shot in the last couple seconds of a shot clock. When we were just doing these doubles, it was really creating like some good shots for these guys who could knock them down. And I think that was kind of an issue for us going, especially in that second half. And then, like you say, and like the title says, Brunson needs help. 4 for 24 was RJ and Randle combined. That's just not going to get it done. I'm trying not to disagree with Lee on the Randle situation. But I'm not a Randle hater. I got a Randle jersey, so I get it. It's kind of a tired argument here, but his body language has got to be the worst in the league. And the way that kind of just shows and kind of, with having such a young team that we have, I think that matters. I think this body language matters. I think the effort matters, especially when you're supposed to be the leader. So, just seeing those things, it's hard for me to argue that this isn't a really good year to trade Randle coming off of a third-team All-NBA. If he has a hangover season like he did last year, I don't know what we get for him going on into the future, So I think even if we drop, in regular season wins just to kind of get some more guys that can really, work exactly what y'all said, spacing the floor and forming around Brunson. If we take some time to kind of make it work, I still think it's worth it, because I think in the playoffs, I think that's when you'll see that benefit. Not in the regular season, maybe not so much, but I think in the playoffs we'll really see it. When you think about it, the other people on the third NBA, the All-NBA team were LeBron, Lillard, Sabonis, Fox, and then Randle. That third team All-NBA kind of feels like a mirage when I look at these other players on that team. So I just get a little worried about what we're going to do with Randle, and I just feel like this year makes sense, especially stopping Obi from rotting on the bench and really kind of making something out of that. So that's where I'm at.
I hear you, John.
My man.
A lot, I know.
I hear you, man. Good call, man. Good.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate y'all. We all appreciate y'all. Thank you. Me and Chad, everybody. Keep it going. We'll be back next year. I think we have a good year coming.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate
Hell
it,
yeah,
man.
for sure. No doubt.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, yeah, I can already tell this is gonna be an interesting summer with that talk and the way the season, and it's gonna be a long summer, long trade summer, man. Well, let me get to these super chats first. Shout out to Jason M, who says the final super chat says, "What a season! Best season since the '90s. Thanks for embracing me, allowing me to share my thoughts. I look forward to some great off-season combos." Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you, Jason.
I love Jason M, even though he disagrees with me. I love him. He's a smart dude, man.
Yeah, he is very smart. I like him too, man. He's very smart, man.
Jason M is a good follow on Twitter too. Yo.
Yes, he is.
If you guys didn't know, he's actually probably a good follow for the off season too, because he knows
a lot about the upcoming draft, plays in the draft and things like that too. He's very knowledgeable about that.
Yeah,
yes, he is.
Plays in the draft and free agents look out for and stuff. So Jason M, low key. Only say low key because he's not like a content creator. Doesn't have, but he knows his stuff. So he's a good follow. Shout out to Alexander 420 who says Clyde Stalin and Wildin in the highlighter pink. That's normal. That's Tuesday stuff. Ooh, yeah. Shout out. Yeah, shout out. Yo, what's RJ Barrett, man? I'm still proud of RJ, man. I'm still proud.
Me too.
I'm still
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm
Me
still.
too.
I think if it wasn't for the foul trouble, I think the foul trouble really took him out of rhythm.
Yeah.
Because he started out the game going to the free throw line 8 times, hit all 8 of them joints, and the foul calling is it's so wonky, man. It's really hard to figure out what's a foul and what isn't. Jalen Brunson, I feel like Jalen Brunson was getting superstar calls. And it was like, well, I'm glad he's getting it since nobody else is getting any love. But at the same time, he also got 2 dumb calls and 2 dumb foul calls that gave him 3 fouls in the early quarters that took us out of his rhythm too. So it's just like, man. But
Yeah, man, I'm not as harsh on RJ Barrett as I am Julius Randle. Barrett's been in the league for 4 years, 22 years old. Randle's been in the league for 9 years, 28 years old. I think there's a lot more upside with RJ Barrett. And even though his shooting kind of went to hell this game, I still liked it. I liked his mentality, liked his body language, liked how hard he was trying. He was still trying to hit his rotations on defense. He's trying to keep his man in front of him. Played solid defense on Jimmy, I thought, on those switches when he was guarding him one-on-one. I can't say the same about Randle. John said, man, the body language, the approach, the effect he has on his teammates, not to mention his statistics, the failure, as you said all season, not to come through in crunch time. We need somebody that Jalen Brunson can depend on next season and henceforth that can be with him for 4 or 5 years as a partner in crime.
Yeah. RJ really stepped up. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Ryan G.
Yeah, I'm very proud of RJ. I've definitely been tough on RJ this season, especially at certain points this season where it seemed like he was regressing as opposed to progressing. But he has shown in the playoffs that he has the right mentality for a player playing in the playoffs. He's one of those players where when the playoffs are there, he steps it up a notch, which is what he's supposed to do in the playoffs. And he definitely stepped it up a notch. This game, unfortunate, he played bad, 1 of 10 from the field. But the one thing I did like about RJ Barrett was, despite the fact that he shot 1 of 10 from the field, he got to the free throw line 10 times. And part of the reason why the Knicks were able to get out to that early lead was because RJ Barrett was putting pressure on the Miami defense and creating fouls and getting to the line.
Yeah.
So I definitely see a bright future for RJ Barrett on the Knicks. And the only thing I'm hoping for RJ Barrett is that he just finds consistency, because I believe that if he can bring what he did in this year's playoffs into the regular season and actually play consistently in the regular season like that, I do see an all-star for RJ Barrett in the future. If he can definitely put it all together and play consistently in the regular season and going into the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
And I had one more thing to say. I think it was regarding a comment made by Gamers Channel regarding Quickly, saying that if Quickly was playing, and he probably would have helped the Knicks to actually maybe win Game 6 and probably get back to the Garden, win Game 7 and go into the finals. And yeah, the Knicks were definitely missing Quickly. And I think and this is why I understand people's harsh criticisms about the players and them not performing up to their level in the playoffs. But again, Quickly, he's a player that he didn't perform to his level in the playoffs. He had a great regular season, then in the playoffs he struggled. Again, I just want to reiterate this point. A lot of these players, it's their first
time,
first or second time in the playoffs. So you can't just write them off just because they perform badly in this year's playoffs. And a lot of these players are still young and they're growing. Julius Randle is probably the outlier, because even though it's Julius Randle's second time in the playoffs, he has been in the league for a while, and you're expecting that with him having the experience and him being a veteran, he should be able to rise up to the challenge and actually perform better in the playoffs. So it lesser goes for Julius Randle, but at the same time, a lot of these players, first and second time in the playoffs, and not every player is Michael Jordan. Not every player, as soon as they enter the playoffs that first year, they're him. A lot of these players, it takes time. And I think people just have to keep that in mind when you think about these players. Like, these are not players with great playoff experience. These are players that is their first and second time. You have to give them a chance to grow. You have to give them a chance to improve. And I believe that if you give these guys time, they're going to produce in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. And back to the RJ Barrett stuff. I remember early. Remember last year, Ryan G. We was talking about, because we squint really hard. Like, he shows me glimpses of Jimmy Butler. Remember when we saw that whole conversation? Like, he was using some Jimmy moves even in this series. RJ been kind of living in that, going to the whole area in that mid range. Low, he was shooting well. I was looking at one point, he was at 91st percentile in that mid range area. He was really stepped up, and the playmaking, I got a lot comfortable with him. I got a lot comfortable with him shooting floaters and stuff. It was unreal how comfortable I was with RJ having the ball in his hands. So this is one of those losses and one of those seasons where it sucks, but sometimes the season like this where it sucks and it hurts and you're not going to be able to sleep and you think about the plays in your sleep that you messed up, or where you could have rotated here or shot here with more confidence. Like, this is that time. This is where the champions are made. Like, when you're sick to your stomach, when you lost, and you got to go home and you got to work on your game.
Ryan makes it a point about guys on the team that have only been, this is their second time in the playoffs. I think, like, this is Mitch's first, Grimes' first, Hart's first, and quickly Obi and RJ second time. I think RJ performed above standard for his second time in the playoffs. He played way better than he did in that series against Atlanta. I do think that Emmanuel quickly, I think it's fair to say that he choked in the playoffs. And I wouldn't say that Obi Toppin choked, but I think Obi Toppin had an opportunity because of how Randle was playing to maximize his potential and opportunity and show that he can be the starting power forward moving forward. And I don't think he solidified that spot, because when you look at the Miami Heat, Matt Strus, Dave Vincent, Caleb Martin, their second time in the playoffs for all three of them. I think Strus has been like in the playoffs one other time and played 0.2 minutes. It was like almost nil. So that was really all three of those guys second time in the playoffs as well. And they're not Michael Jordan, but all three of them came to ball. They played consistent defense. They shot well from three. They played solid, as a facilitator and keeping the ball moving. The ball didn't stuck with them. So I think the Miami system and the head coaching and just their culture helped them to maintain a pace in the playoffs where there wasn't a drop off and they weren't scared to shoot. I can't say the same with New York. And the reason is not because of a lack of culture or if Tom Thibodeau's an ass coach and we should fire him, but I do think there was an over-reliance on Randle, Brunson, and RJ offensively that didn't allow our secondary, tertiary role players to really get into a groove offensively and know and trust this is when my time's going to come. I'm going to get these main touches. I'll be counted upon in these moments. Instead, it was, let's dump the ball to Julius Randle no matter how he's shooting and watch him dribble the air out of the ball.
The quickly thing is interesting to me because he was used two different ways. So, like in the season, he was the primary ball handler. We get to the Cavs series, right? So we're like, all right, cool. He was really good as the primary backup ball handler behind Brunson, who gives Brunson the rest. We're gonna do that same thing here when we in the Cavs series. Cavs play him. They're trapping him with long wings, hard, and take him out of his game for like 2-3 games straight. To the point where Tibbs is looking at him going, all right, you know what? You are no longer the point guard. You're like, he used him as like a decoy point guard for that whole Cavs series, where he just brought the ball up and handed it off to RJ. And then he started to work off ball. So it's funny because his whole role changed. And then once we got to Miami, the game he played, he never really played the lead guard role anymore. So it was like It's weird. I feel like this was a series more where he can play more of that lead guard role because I don't think they had as long players off that bench to guard him the way they did in the Cavs series. Like, I feel like he might have been able to get more away with it in this series, but then he got injured. So it's interesting because it's interesting. I do feel like the pressure got too quickly a little bit.
Definitely.
But I also feel like the game he got injured, I feel like he was trying to find his way and he was just letting him go.
True.
Like I was the most aggressive I've seen him. And even though he was missing, I was like, I'll take the misses at this point because I just want you to get into a flow. And then he got hurt. So I know IQ is pissed right now that he didn't even get a chance to redeem him. I know he's really pissed because to play bad, to then all right, let me see if I can get it going in this next series, and to get hurt has to be a horrible feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible
Yeah, and I do want to throw in something about Quickly as well because Lee is right. Quick did choke in the playoffs, but the one thing he didn't do, he didn't choke on defense.
Yep.
Facts.
At least he played his ass off on defense to make up for him not being a threat on the offensive side of the ball.
Grimes
And,
too.
yeah, Grimes too as well.
I agree.
I think what's going to really be telling is what JL has just mentioned about, these players having this experience and being pissed off, that they weren't able to get through, especially a guy like Quickly where he was injured for the last part of this series and he didn't even get a chance to play to even try to make an impact on the game to help the team to even get past the Miami Heat. And I think next season is going to be really telling because now the Knicks have a foundation to where they're going to be a perennial playoff team. I expect this team next season to come out with some fire in the playoffs based on the way they performed this postseason with the experience that they got.
Yeah, they're gonna be
like
pissed.
I'm expecting these players to step up to the plate now because they're gonna have it in their mind that that last postseason, it was pretty new for me. It was a new experience. I didn't perform well. So I expect these dudes to get in the gym and work hard. And when the third season, when this next season comes, going into the playoffs next season, I expect a way better team. Because
Absolutely.
I feel like that's good. I feel like this experience that they experienced in these playoffs is going to make them even more hungry to perform next year in the playoffs. So, I think you got to keep that in perspective as well.
Even
Good point.
Tibbs, man. Like, it's funny. I've been begging for Grimes off-ball movement threes out of timeout plays all season, and he does it for like the last shot of the game. I've been begging. If you guys been watching the show, I've been begging for Grimes to run off like 3 screens and just be open. And I'm just like, holy cow. Like, he missed it. He airballed it. It wasn't pretty. But this is one of those things where I am like I want to keep a lot of continuity here because I feel like Tibbs, he's growing with the team as well, and I think it might give him a new opportunity to like throw in more wrinkles in the offense next season if we have some more continuity happening. That's like the only I understand it's just struggles, but it's like I'm conflicted. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm conflicted.
Yeah, and I think we can do that by retaining 8 out of a 9-man rotation and just moving Randle and allowing more touches for Grimes, more wrinkles for Obi, more touches for Quickly, and really having them be significant contributors on the offensive side around Brunson. Instead of them getting, if I don't play more than 12 minutes tonight, if I don't play more than 8 minutes, if I don't get more than 3 or 4 touches, is Tibbs don't pull me if I miss 2 threes in a row. Let's move away from that and get more toward continuity and ball movement and more away from the isolation that Julius Randle does.
Yeah. Do we have 2 callers still left? I know we was going on.
Yeah, we're going in.
I don't know if we have a caller. If there is a caller, let me know what your name is and where you're from and what you want to talk about.
Hey, yo, what's good, JL? This is Picks with Timmy, man.
Yo, what's going on, Picks, man?
Chilling, yo. Hey, man, look, It's all good, man. It's not a reason to be sad in Knicks Nation, man. We still outside. We outside in Cancun, Cabo, Paris. We got the banana boat out there. Julius Randle, Brunson, and RJ out there, man. We good, bro. So look, man, like y'all pretty much covered most of the X's and O's. I'm not even really gonna get into adjustments right now because when it comes down to it, we're green, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like from pretty much everybody that's out there right now is doing this for the very first time. And, you know, a lot of people are talking about making a trade or, you know, doing things to adjust the current team that we have. I want y'all to really take a look at like the Phoenix Suns. I want y'all to take a look at the Dallas Mavericks. You know, throwing bodies at a situation is not always going to turn it into a championship team. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. We're talking about pieces coming together and developing chemistry, and chemistry is going to take time. So, you know, with that said, there is one part of the equation that we got right now, and that's Jalen Brunson. I don't care if you draw a circle around this man for the offense. You can put a triangle around him, an X, whatever you want to do. Jalen Brunson is the piece that is going to help us right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's for sure. And how we decide to build around that, you know, you can add whatever piece you want to. You have a sample size of this season, seeing how he worked to Julius Randle. If you want to keep that, cool. Honestly, I feel like in the minutes that I saw, pace-wise, the Knicks have an opportunity to change pace more with Obi Toppin on the floor because he doesn't require the ball. He provides more spacing. And if we had even another player who's built in that mode who can rebound like Julius Randle, you know, that would be something that could help us. But the crazy thing about it is, yo, with this particular season, man, we're not built inside of iniquity. Like, we're not coming out with bad contracts, no movement. Mm-hmm. We got assets. You know what I'm saying? We're going into next season with kids that can possibly come back and just be the answer. RJ can come back next year and shoot 40% from 3-point, and that just be it. And we're good. You know? So, look, man, I just think, like, really we're outside. I'm proud of this team for what we did this year, man. Shout out Ryan G. Shout out Lee Escobedo. Shout out Jay Ellis, man. Let's get into the chat a little bit. What up? What up, JT? What up, JT? My guy, Alexander 420. We good, bro. Throw him up. Sandman. My haters, man. Craig, where you at, yo? Tell him. You need to come out.
Call him out.
Craig! Let's go get it,
Ryan
man.
G's arch nemesis.
We outside, man. Next stations, don't hit your head.
Yeah, outside, man.
Oh, man.
Great call. We needed that, Timmy.
Yeah, we needed that, man. Yeah, I feel like it's like family calling. Oh, that's my guy. Yep. Next call up is Ronnie. Is that my Rodney? Is that my boy Ronnie? Is that my college friend Ronnie? Ronnie, is that you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. What's good, Ronnie?
Yeah. What's up, Jay? Yeah, man. Yo, first time caller, but like 1,000 years I've been listening to this, man. Yo, congratulations, Ryan, Lee, Jay. Like, I've been listening since the podcast days.
Yeah,
so,
it's not out.
Yeah, listen, last game of the year, so I had to call. And, yeah, you know, I enjoyed the season. Like, this is the first Knicks season, like, I enjoyed. Like, I mean, the 2 years ago was good, but, you know, like, we almost didn't expect anything, you know, against Atlanta. But this year, like, I got more than I bought. Like, I didn't know we were going to make it to the second round. So I got more than I bargained for, especially with Jalen. Like, yeah, I knew he was going to be good. Like, I remember watching Dallas, you know, last year. I was like, yo, this kid is not starting. Like, what the hell, you know? And, but yeah, he's way better than most people thought he was. And he's our point guard. Like, I think the first time I met Jay, like 1,000 years ago, like, all we did was almost every summer. Yeah, yo, I think CP3 is every summer. I'm telling you, the past 20 years, every summer, same thing.
It makes sense.
We never had a point guard, and yo, it's weird watching the TV right now and seeing a point guard with the Knicks shirt on.
Yeah,
just killing it. Like he's a top 10 player
for real.
He's a top 10 player, and he's on the Knicks.
Like that's, and I'm not even mad about today. I just like I saw Grime miss the shot. I didn't even scream. I didn't even do nothing. I'm just like, yeah, I know. And you guys were right. Like they're lacking the experience and frankly I think we would have won this round if Quickly was the Quickly we had during the season. Like I think what Quickly did off the bench was really, really terrible for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Like a lot of teams couldn't handle him coming off the bench. And, he just wasn't there. Like he, when he played, he didn't perform and, and he got injured. So it is what it is. It was a great season. In terms of Randle, I think I told you that, Jay. Like I do think we need to trade Randle, and it's not because he's terrible. It's because of what he's good at. Like somebody around the NBA needs what he does, and he's a good power forward. Like when he actually shows up, he's a good power forward. And like Jay said, a lot of people have bad matchups against him. Like he's a great power forward, and that's why he's a great trade piece. You don't want to trade the whole team because the team has great chemistry right now because we have something we're building around Jalen. But if you're gonna trade somebody to get more back, it has to be, the All NBA third team guy. Yeah. So because he has value. So that's if we have a good trade in line. So. Yeah. So that's all I have to say about it. And one last thing, and it's my pet peeve. One last thing. Mitch, I need Mitch to get a hand. Like I need him to have hands.
Yeah,
just hands.
100%.
I just need hands.
He turned into Northern Noel overnight. Like, I don't know what.
Yep.
I don't know what did happen. I don't know what happened or how it happened.
Man, but on the real, like. He needs to learn basic big man discipline. Like, don't bring the ball above, like, lower than your head, like when you grab the rebound, because he grabbed so many rebounds that could have been put back. But he has that tendency, like when he grabs the rebound, he just brings
the ball
down
and gets lost.
He needs to learn these disciplines, like these big man disciplines, like because of Jokic. Like Jokic can't even jump, but he gets so many putbacks because he has great discipline. He keeps the ball above his head. You swipe at him, that's a foul. Like he needs to learn these things, and he'll be a real threat on the other side because we know his defense. Like he's one of the best defensive centers in the game right now. Yeah. But if you're some kind of threat on the other side, that's great. So
good point.
But that's it, man. But that's all I gotta say. So peace out, Jay. I'm gonna see you soon.
All right.
And thanks.
All right, man. Shout out to my boy.
Excellent call.
Yeah, shout out to my guy Rodney. Now you can see why KLT's even started because he told you, he was like, every summer Jay would be like, are we gonna get CP3? Are we gonna get this point guard? It didn't change. It was happening before there was a KOT. I was doing that.
My final note on trading Julius Randle is one of the reasons I feel so positive about it. We had a great front office, man. Leon Rose isn't fleeced. Leon Rose ain't going to sell him for pennies on a dollar. He ain't going to sell him for a Duncan Robinson and 9 second-round picks. He's going to get great value for him. If he feels that there's a deal out there, he's going to have the upper hand, and he's going to get a solid return. This isn't the Steve Mills era or the Phil Jackson era. We trade Tyson Chandler for Samuel Dallenberg. Like, this ain't that time. This is someone who knows how to work the phones and make a deal work for him. So if we do trade Julius Randle, you best believe we're going to get a solid return for him.
Big if. Full circle, Lee goes from trade Randle to he's the most clutch player on the Knicks, untouchable, to trade Randle.
I never said he was untouchable. In fact, everyone on this roster can be traded except for Jalen Brunson for the right deal, including Grimes, including Mitch, including RJ, in the right deal. I think everyone, and I think Leon feels that way too.
Yeah. Okay, my bad. I'll put some sauce on that. You never said anything.
I'm still a Randle fan. He's not a bum. And if we open the season next season with him on the roster, I'm going to root for him, man. I mean, that's my guy. I got a lot of love for him on the human being side of the ball. So, I just think that for Jalen Brunson to excel, we need someone different than Julius Randle. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Sandman says Ingram. I love Ingram. That man is
Yeah.
always
Yeah,
injured,
me
yo.
too. Big Ingram fan.
We've been
Like-
talking about that all season.
Yeah, I love Ingram.
Yeah.
But it's like if he's one of those guys where I think he would be better than he is now if he was able to actually play a season. Because I think he gets into a rhythm, gets hurt, gets to a rhythm, gets hurt, and you can't never really reach your potential if half the season you're always rehabbing and not working on your game. So like he's one of those guys where I feel like if he wasn't injured so much, he would be better than he is right now. The Pelicans might have gotten out of that round if he, you know what I'm saying? That's just me personally.
Yeah.
Yo, Fritz. Yeah, Fritz, you want to be a caller? Yeah, go ahead, Fritz.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Fritz.
Hey, it's been a whole long year. You know, we've been at it. Shout out to Lee. You're no longer a rookie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My guy.
Looking forward to your sophomore year. Definitely. Yeah, it's just been great working with you guys this year. I think the year's been great. Well, we got a guy in who we thought was the shorter Jordan Clarkson, and we got a whole point guard now. And then we got a front office that's really geared on talent, and I think right now I think the Knicks can actually take risks at this point. So I think when Leon came in, he talked about stars. I think he's going to gear in on that, and I don't necessarily think that star is in the NBA now. So don't be surprised if there's some rookie they're looking at. I think they're going to no stone unturned at this point. I don't think the Knicks are going to. I don't think the Knicks are going to be, taking baby steps next up. I think the Knicks see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I think they're going to see how fast they're going to get there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't, man. I can't see them going after a rookie right now. I can't see.
Me neither.
That's like our team is too. Like they haven't even drafted people the last couple of years. Now there's like the only way they go after some rookie is if it's some generational talent happens to fall in our laps. Like, and a lot has to go right for that to happen.
Brunson's too good to slow it down. They don't try to add someone to complement him now.
Yeah, you gotta capitalize on the talent.
Agreed. You got to.
Yeah, and I believe at the moment the Knicks have a solid foundation. So Knicks already laid the groundwork. So now it's time to build on that groundwork and see how far you can get this building to grow.
Absolutely. And yo, shout out to John Baines who sends a $9.99 super chat. Says for the fire takes, go Knicks, bright future. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I saw Gaming Channel ask if there's gonna be like a season ending show, like a review show. Yeah, we definitely gotta do that. Sure. Yes, there will be.
Yes, and I would like to grade each and every player.
The favorite part, the grade. Yeah, they're definitely gonna have one of those. So yeah, stay tuned for that. All right, cool. Shoot. If you have anything else to say, Josh Hart, shoot more. RJ Barrett, great. Randle, I wish you had more. Wish we had IQ to play. And Grimes, 1 for 6. I expect Grimes to be a beast next year. Yo, we held Jimmy Butler to 31% shooting and lost.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it happens.
Held the Heat to under 100 points. It's really like, and even with IQ struggling, just having IQ in the game and allowing Brunson to sit for like 5 or 10 minutes without the whole league collapsing, like it could have made a difference. Like it really could have made a difference. I think it really could have made a difference.
That's the only silver lining of Emmanuel quickly being out and underperforming is that the price dropped. So that extension he's going to get in the summer is going to be a lot more affordable than it was before the playoffs started.
I'm not so sure, depending on how desperate the team is who actually has cap space. Like you still have to look at the desperate data. Like you still have to look at like Houston Rockets and those teams with cap space who can just throw money. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out in the summer, but I'm not completely sure we're out the woods with that yet, personally.
Yeah, but I think that's why you extend them now. Don't allow it to go to free agency.
Yeah,
Extend them now. Yeah.
yeah. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't do it. Josh Hart, get shots up in the summer, please.
Yes, please. Yes.
Nothing but catch and shoot for you, my guy.
Yep.
That's it. All right.
Like honestly, like literally, that's the only issue with Josh Hart. The only issue, the fact that he won't shoot the ball. That's the only issue.
When it got to the point where he had the ball and nobody even closed out on him,
I know. I was actually telling my dad I want him benched, man. He was pissing me off, bro. He had a horrible game.
Man. He was Superman versus the Cavaliers, and you get to the Heat, and it was like, whoop, you know what to do with him? Nothing. You can stay right here. You gonna stay right here. All right, man. Whew, man. Any last words you want to say before we close it out?
My last words is let's go Knicks. That's my last word.
Let's go. All right.
My last words are I'm a munch. Let's go. Let's go. A munch for Ice Spice.
Oh my God.
I will say this though. If Ice Spice appears in half of the Knicks home games next season, Emmanuel quickly will win 6th Man of the Year award.
Yes, we will. Mail it.
We'll win 6th Man of the Year award.
No, you see those those videos of the IGs like how you play with your boys and how you play when your girl is in the audience. It's gonna be one of those joints. I so quickly all day long. Can't really see it. You have 50 points, no assists for sure. That is our show. Yeah, Lee, let me know where they can find you, man.
On Twitter @_Lee Escobedo. I'll be continuing to write about the playoffs as I had been doing. All of the other series that are going on, covering them in depth. Yeah, man. Thanks, Mark Cuban, for being a bum. I really hate you and your franchise, but I love that you met up Jalen Brunson. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Shout out.
Yeah, man. You're a bum. All right.
Yes.
Ryan G, let him know who to find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Sir G is chilling.
Sir G is chilling.
That's SIR. G is CHILLI. And you can also find me at Sir G's Corner. You can also find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT. And I actually agree with Sandman in the chat. If I have to choose a team to win the title this year, I'm going for the Nuggets. I like the way that team is set up. Yeah.
Me too.
I'm going for the Nuggets. And another thing, I know this is mad random out of nowhere, but I don't like the way how this blur is messing up my fro. It's not giving my fro like it deserves like the actual I can't think of the word right now. But
so your fro don't look like a triangle in real life?
Exactly. It's not letting my fro shine. You know what I mean? That's what I don't like about this blur.
Yeah, the blur making the fro look fraudulent, dog.
Exactly.
You probably had to take the blur off. You want to see the background? Okay, all right. Sacrifice the background for the fro. Okay.
Thanks.
All right, man. That's our show. If you did already know, snapbacks back. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Follow us on the KOT Show on Twitter, the Knick of Time Show on Instagram, and the Knick of Time Show on Facebook. Also, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Everywhere you listen to podcasts, you can listen to the Knick of Time Show. All right, and you already know, get those snapbacks in black and white and the blue and orange at thenickotimeshow.com. Just go there, hit catalog, boom. It's right there for you. All right, cool. That is our show. It's the last post-game show.
Oh man.
Right?
Pops, I see you in the chat. I love you, Pops. I see you in there.
Shout out to Lee Pops. All right.
Facts.
All right, that is our show, man. Shout out to the chat. One more shout. Shout out to Alexander Billy Escobedo in the chat. I see you, Sam, man. Even though you be trolling, I love you, man. Cody. Shout out to you, Lex the Destroyer. I seen Knicks Nation in there earlier. I seen Eric Chong in there. Jason M, still here. Shout out to you, Amazement 7. Shout out to you. Everybody rock with the show. John Baines, Pigs for Timmy. Everybody who was rocking with us all year. Best spot in the game, Fritz Alessandro. Everybody. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Oh, also one more thing. I'm shutting off the show. I'm gonna re-upload it for you people to watch it. So don't be scared when you don't see it after this. It's gonna come back right up in the morning. All right, cool. That is our show. Have some fun this weekend. Take your orange and blue juice and.
Oh man.
Pause.
Oh,
My God.
Right now, I'm concerned about us going fishing, like what fishing hats we wearing, what fishing reels we're gonna use.
Exactly.
What waters we're gonna be fishing in. That's what I'm worried about at the moment. And after that, we're going to Cancun. Just live it up.
Yeah, live it up. All right,
I'm trying to catch a bum. Oh, I got cred.
Oh.
I caught me a cred for Ryan G.
Oh man.
Oh man.
That's all you gotta say for the whole show. You're gonna miss all the jokes, all right? It's all the jokes.
I usually go off on the end.
I don't know if you guys don't know. Usually all the jokes come in the last 10 minutes of the show. You told me to get all the serious talk out, and then it's just jokes, all right?
Oh man.
All right, that is our show, man. We out of here. And as always,
shout out the Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks YouTube and emo Twitter streets. That is our show. We out of here. Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.